Hello, all. I am Daniel. I always want to do my my podcast intro. Definitely check out the Fantasy and Sci-Fi Fanatics podcast. Ran by me, author Daniel Coolbaugh. So I have today with me Besieged. So I did an overall um series for the Iron Druid Chronicles video, like why I like it so much, things like that. Just like a quick thing. Um, I have not been doing spoilers at all in these talks on each book. So I have Hounded all the way up to Besieged, and then I'm actually today also recording for the following day, Scorched, in my schedule. So these are great books. I just was not expecting Besieged, which is like really like a collection of short stories. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I've read some of Kevin's other short stories and like some anthologies and things like that of the Iron Druid universe. And I've read the novellas and stuff, but I just wasn't expecting the book overall to be this good. I was like, oh, can't a collection. I've never had a collection of short stories. I have not read Patricia Briggs's yet for Mercy Thompson, so I can't wait to do that. But of the collection of short stories I've read of other people, I have not found one that was nearly this good in my humble opinion of what I've read so far. So this says the ancient gods are alive and well in the modern world in this fun, action-packed collection of original short stories featuring Atticus O'Sullivan, the 2,000-year-old Irish man from Kevin Hearne's The New York Times best-selling Iron Druid Chronicles. In ancient Egypt, Atticus agrees to raid a secret chamber underneath the Library of Alexandria, only to learn that it's mined with deadly traps. That story was awesome. That story was super fun, awesome, and I was really not expecting parts of I'm not going to spoil this. I was not expecting parts of that story to happen the way that they did, and you find out why certain things are the way they are. Like a couple of minor things are the way they are in the overall series is because of this event that happens in ancient Egypt. And it was so cool to see Atticus in ancient Egypt. It was just really, really neat. But that story was way better than I thought it was going to be. At a festive Kansas carnival, soul-snatching demons and flesh-craving ghouls lure visitors into an all-too-real house of horrors. I read that one, like some sort of carnival of something anthology. You can look it up. And I read that story in particular. And I can't remember where I read. I think it was in the anthology originally. Like I had read that story originally, pretty early on, and then I reread it in this anthology. In this collection, and I thought it was really, really good. I actually liked it better the second time because I actually knew who Atticus was and things like that. I think the first time when I read it, I think I had just started like maybe Hexed or Hunted, something like that. Um, Verily, in Old England, striking up a friendship with William Shakespeare lands both Atticus and the Bard in boiling water with a trio of infamous witches. God, is this an amazing story? Like, so cool. Just he does such a great job of representing William Shakespeare, and putting in some fun research and just what a cool story. Like, I actually just talked about this for our anthology, Arcane Awakenings. I said, hey, for our next theme, we should do something fun like either this, or we should do animal companions and urban fantasy. I don't know, but this like historical figures kind of story, or historical urban fantasy keeps popping up for us as like a thing that people just find fun. So I actually forgot all about that story. So I'll in our next meeting for our next anthology through my press Shadow Stain Press, we'll have to consider that. So that's actually really cool. But yeah, that was an amazing story. I'm sure you could already figure out who the trio of infamous witches are if you have not read that play. I don't want to spoil it for you. During the gold rush, the avatar of greed himself turns the streets of San Francisco red with blood, forcing Atticus to fight fire with fire. Uh, yeah, that was really cool. I forgot about that story, actually. You get to see Atticus at different points in different history. Kevin does a lot of really great research, like I said before in these videos. That's one of the things I love about him as a history teacher. Doesn't just do a great job in mythology, but does a great job with like the historical points. I mean, obviously, because Atticus is 2,000 years old, so he has to hit things pretty well with the Roman Empire and the vampires, Sea of the Power, this and that. Like, I mean, it's really, really cool to see him in different parts. We get to see him in some of the books, and some of the flashbacks and things with his some loved ones, I guess is the best way to put it, in places like Africa. We get to see him in different friendships over the years. And it was just really, really cool to get not just the glimpses and flashbacks and things and his thoughts, but also really get to see him in action at these different times. And it really just made me love historical urban fantasy, as I'm calling it. I have a Roman legion. Um, and I've always thought it was interesting how the lost Roman legion in England was lost, and like nobody knows what happened. They found a piece of paper that thought maybe that they went back to Spain and the paperwork got lost, but I find that really odd. Um, that was a paper that came out like several years ago. It was probably before my son was born, probably like 4 or 5 years ago. So I started writing this historical urban fantasy, which is kind of like a prequel, if you will, or is a prequel series to my Monster Hunter series because I have some interesting things where I explain how and why the Legion was lost, and then have some fun with that. But I'm taking like real, I've been going back and researching again here and there, Roman military, the stuff that Roman military history, all these things. So it's taking me a little longer to go back to that series because I'm finishing up like the more modern day stuff. But this was the reason, like this collection of short stories was the reason why I was like, oh, I really want to write something like that, like what I call historical urban fantasy. And some people would just call it contemporary, fantasy, stuff like that. But I call it historical urban fantasy because you have history, you have people like me that love historical fiction, and then you also have those elements of urban fantasy. Or I've heard some people also call it historical fantasy. I like saying like historical urban fantasy because really like when you're thinking about like one thing when and I was also watching King Arthur at the time, like a rewatch when I was reading this book, this collection of short stories, and I just love like the mid 2000s one with like Clive Owen and just like a great cast. Like it's one of the best casts of like a B movie is what most people consider, but it was like amazing. And I always thought that it would be really cool to take like King Arthur's knights and then, kind of take that time period and then do like historical urban fantasy because that's basically what that movie was. So between that and this collection of short stories, like it makes me want to write historical urban fantasy. So if that's like your thing, I definitely think you should check out this book. And again, there's ancient Egypt. He's in really like the Americas. I mean, there's several stories in here that I think you'll absolutely fall in love with, like I did. And there are different people, different characters, and situations that I think were just really, really cool nods and cool extensions or prequel things that then happen in the overall series later on. So for me, I really did not expect to love this book this much. And when I listened to it again, I loved it even more. So I really think you should check it out for the different stories and the perspectives. And if you've gotten this far in the series, because I don't recommend reading it until you've gotten this far in the series, because some things are happening right before Scorched, or they're like flashing back and stuff, or making plans on the next book and like the characters and stuff on like what they're going to do, how they're going to react and stuff. So be really careful. But this was a really cool, like deepening of what's happened previously to then kind of end the series. I don't know. I thought it was interesting before I read it, and an interesting perspective on, like what Kevin was doing before Scorch. Like I was like, oh, I want an actual like book, right? Not a collection of short stories. And then I read it and I was like, I'm just gonna read it. And then I read it, prepping for Scorch, and I loved this book. And this was by far my favorite collection of short stories. That and like I read this like probably well, I actually think I read it right when it came out. Actually, like I was just like I was all caught up and everything. Totally blanking on the year. Yes, this is 2018, so I read this right away, and then prepped for Scorch. And I was just so that was literally that's crazy to think about. That was 2018, and now here we are in 2026. Like, and I still have not read a collection of short stories that has been nearly this good. So definitely recommend it. 5 out of 5. Besieged. If you are interested in some of the things that I am writing, you can check me out in the description at www.authordanielcoolbaugh.com. By now, I will have updated my site. I'm like waiting on like cover reveals and updates and all these things. So as of right now, currently on July 22nd, I'm just waiting several days before I can update my website. It stinks to have these amazing things and then not be able to post them right away. But I don't want to like update a few things and have to update again. So I'm like kind of waiting till our cover reveal for Arcane Awakenings, our urban fantasy anthology. That's going to drop let's see, Monday, July 27th. So if you're watching this after that, please check out our cover for our anthology. It's a really cool idea. I have a story in there called No Rest for the Wicked. I think it's over 10,000 words. It's something like 11,000 before our final edits from our editor, Alan Silverwood. And I really, want you guys to check out that anthology in particular. Please check out the pre-launch link. We launch September 13th, and it'll go all the way to I think it's October 18th. So it's 4 weeks. So not a lot of time. We got some exclusive stuff in there. Yeah, please check it out. I have other stuff that's coming too. I have Rings of Adventure anthology through Mike and Roe, the Bald and Balding podcast. That one drops September 1st. I have a story in there called The Trouble with Spellbound Rings, also urban fantasy. And yeah, I'm going to be going. I have 2 short stories I'm trying to submit right now to 2 different anthologies. One is a magazine and one is a book. And yeah, after that, I'm like prepping those the next week and a half, and then I'll have people read, and then start to edit those. But I'm just taking just a little pit stop break because it's a heavy lift for our Kickstarter, but really Kickstarters. Because I'm doing interviews for Rings of Adventure on my channel, the Fantasy and Sci-Fi Fanatics podcast as well. But yeah, please check out both anthologies. Please check out my website. I have prequel novellas coming for my Monster Hunter series. I got the actual book 1, Hunter's Moon, coming. But The Hunted, my prequel novella, number 1, is all about how he becomes a monster hunter. My main character, Nathaniel Wither. He's the first one I'm starting with, my Avenger cast of characters. So please check that out. You can also find my social media there as well. So everything will be right there in the description. But if you guys end up reading Besieged, or you've read any other of Kevin's work, urban fantasy or otherwise, please let me know in the comments, and please let me know what you thought. Hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and as always, happy reading, my friends. See you guys.